This video is an explanation of argument 3 in my video, A Brief Argument for Christianity. God's essence is his existence. The argument goes as follows. If what has existence in itself were not its own existence, its existence would be in composition with what it is. But no composite being has its existence in itself. Therefore, what has existence in itself is its own existence. I don't think this argument really needs that much explanation because it easily follows from the prior two arguments. Basically, all that is being proved here is that what has existence in itself is identical to existence. If that which has existence in itself were not identical to existence, then it would have to have existence in itself in addition to its identity. But that would make it composite. And we already proved in argument 2 that the being which has existence in itself is non-composite. Thus, the identity of that which has existence in itself must just be existence itself, nothing less and nothing more. Note that I am still not making any claims about existence beyond my original definition that existence is what makes something different from nothing. I'm also not making the essence-existence distinction for those who might know what that is. So why is this argument important? First of all, as I mentioned in the first video, this is how God has been defined by classical theists based on an interpretation of Exodus 3:14. As the Catholic Encyclopedia, commenting on the divine name given to Moses, says, finite beings are defined by their essence. God can be defined only by being, pure and simple, nothing less and nothing more. If we want to prove that the God of Christianity exists, therefore, we have to prove that a being which is defined only by being exists. And that is precisely what this argument does. Secondly, it rules out the objection that, well, you may be able to prove a generic God exists, but not the specific God you believe in. This objection assumes that the being which is at the conclusion of my arguments could have many different identities. Zeus, Thor, the flying spaghetti monster, or whoever, right? These gods are technically ruled out by argument 2 because they're composite, but this argument also shows that trying to present the absolute first cause as if it could have multiple different identities is simply a misunderstanding of what the first cause is. Even if we said Zeus is actually non-composite and is only defined by existence itself, well, that would just make Zeus identical to Yahweh. These would be just different names for the same God. Since there cannot be an additional identity that makes Zeus Zeus rather than Yahweh, they would literally be the same thing. Now you could argue that the historical claims in the Bible about what God did are false, but what God did in the past doesn't define what God is in the Christian tradition, since God is only defined by being. And of course these arguments also show that's the case as well. Whether the historical claims are true is relevant to whether Christianity is true, but not so much to who God is. Thirdly, if God and existence are identical, and we are defining existence simply as that which makes something different from nothing, then this means that God is identical to what makes something different from nothing. Ultimately, this means that everything that is different from nothing can only be different from nothing due to God, since God is identical to that which makes something different from nothing. So this makes God really the ultimate foundation and creator for everything that exists. So really at this point we have demonstrated that the God of Christianity exists. From this point, it's not so much a matter of identifying who or what is at the foundation of everything that exists. The question, rather, is whether God is one or intelligent or omnipotent, etc. These are not questions of God's identity, but rather questions of how we can understand what God is, because given divine simplicity, these cannot be additional attributes of God which change his identity, but simply different ways of understanding the same thing. And we will get into those questions in the future in the other arguments in this series. For now, thanks for watching.